Welcome to Talking Funny Cars, and boy do I have a special guest today. A guy that I've wanted to get on this show for the last 2 years. We finally made it happen, and I'm so excited to have my boss, Big Jim Dunn, right here on Talking Funny Cars. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to be here, and let's talk about old time racing and new time racing.
That's right. Well, it's sure an honor to have you. Let's go back to the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
How did you start?
Well, I started when I was 14. I won my first trophy when I was 15, and that was 1949 at Santa Ana drag strip. That was the first drag strip.
Yep.
And my dad was a cowboy, a real cowboy. So I had every kind of horse there was. And he says, "You don't like horses, do you?" I said, "No, they bite and step on me and stuff." He says, "What do you like?" I said, "I like cars." He says, "Okay." So he bought me a 39 Ford. And then it's on my 15th birthday, he says, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I says, 2 carburetors and a cam. He looked at me and says, "Okay, but you put them in."
Yep.
And that's when I started learning how to do it. Then I got in with Harold Miller crankshafts. They were the first cranks. And Art Crispin was the first guy to go 140. And Crispin took a liking to me. I was 15 years old. And he says, "I'll teach you how to tune motors, but you gotta listen to me." He says, "Motors talk to you. When you take them apart, look at every part and do what it says. If it wants a hotter spot plug, put it in." It's 8 individual little motors there.
Yep.
And that's how I learned it. So I still tune that way. The computer's very good because when you drop a cylinder, the computer tells you exactly where it does, so then you know where to put your fuel system different.
Yeah.
So you can't run without the computer, but still the motor tells me what to do.
Yeah. And the first race car, what was it? What did you get the 2 carburetors and the camshaft for? What was the car?
39 Ford, and I was the first car, street legal car to go 90 in a quarter mile.
So cool. And what year was that?
That was 1949.
Wow.
At that time, the flathead was 3/8 by 3/8. I went in and told Miller I want a 1/2-inch stroker. I want to be bigger than everybody else.
Yep.
"Oh, we got one, but it's kind of edgy. You know, we got it in a sprint car." "No, give me a 7/16." So I split the difference, and that's the one I built.
And it worked.
Oh, that's the one that set the record with
That's
it.
so cool.
I had the first Volkswagen to come to America. It's got a split window, 49. I put a flathead Lincoln fuel injection on it, and the record was Crispin 140, and I went 120 in the Volkswagen.
That's cool.
And from there we went, I built an A-gas supercharger with a blown Chevy, and it was the first. It set the record on A-gas. I went to Pomona 2 weeks later and said, "A-gas supercharged." They looked, "No, it's a foreign body, your sports car." So I learned where politics was. As soon as I went quick, still wanted to cook some boys.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
Yep.
And so then I built an Alder. It was the ugliest, heaviest one you ever saw. And we got runner-up with it. Mm-hmm. And then I built Dunn Merritt Velasco Alder. It was super light. It weighed 990 pounds without a driver ready to start. We made 200 runs and probably got beat twice.
Yeah, what a great car.
We won the Winter Nationals on gas, put it on fuel, and won the March meet on fuel 2 years in a row.
So that was the first nitro car you had. That was you and Henry
No,
together.
I started my flathead Lincoln back in 1950. I was on 85%.
That's cool.
But nitro's the answer to it.
Yeah, that's right. And your love for the funny cars is pretty clear. What year was it you switched to funny car?
1970, and that was another big good story. I was runner-up in the top fuel against Rowland in the Winter Nationals and top fuel. And I always thought, boy, if I could just win a big race, that'd be so great how I would feel.
Yeah.
So I won the March meet, which was the biggest race there was. It was 1969, I won top fuel, and there was 135 entries in top fuel then. There's 10 here today.
That's right.
And when I won, didn't feel any better than winning the first street race. A win is a win, and that's it. I said, I'm disappointed.
Yeah. I think maybe it's important that we talk a little bit about your dad and how he raised you and what you did growing up, right?
Well, my dad wasn't real oaky. They came in with the dust storm in a Model T. My dad, and my grandfather and grandmother and their 11 kids in a Model T came from Oklahoma to California and Bellflower. So he was pretty good. It's kind of tough. He's bullying in grammar school was pushing me around, and I told my dad, he says, run over there and pick that rock up and bring it back. And I was a fat little kid. He says, you're too fat to run, so I'm gonna have to teach you to fight.
That's funny.
So that he did. He said, you don't ever run away from a fight, but don't start a fight.
Yep.
Don't go first unless he calls you an SOB. He insults your mother, break his nose right then, and if you don't, I'll break yours when you come home. I go, oh, okay, I understand that talk.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget in the Zoot Suit days, we were at a restaurant, and these Zoot Suiters came in and started throwing the F-roll around. My dad got up and says, hey, there's women in here, take it easy. F you old, okay. He says, kid, get in the car. I'll never forget. We went back to the dairy, pulled the switch, turned the lights off, turn it on. He says, we're going back to town and fight some Zoot Suiters. Anyone who doesn't want to go is fired. Let's go.
That's cool.
So we had 14 French Bass people in the back.
Good times. Good times. Let's fast forward a little bit. I grew up watching you race, and I remember your drivers, and an era that always stuck out to me was your success in the Snickers car. That car was very dominant. You guys did an amazing job, and you worked full-time as a firefighter during that time.
Yep, didn't miss a day. I worked there, and I was a firefighter for LA County for 30 years in East LA, and we did all the first brush fires, and that was it.
Yep.
But that was the first time I had an unlimited budget, and we had a good crew. When I went there, Mike was the boss. I was actually working for Abel and Mike. And we could pull in, I says, where's my crew? He says, there they are. Here's 5 old guys sitting around. I go, how many of you's been to a drag race? None of them. How many of you built motors? None of them. I said, why have we got these guys? And Abel, the owner, he built big bridges over the rivers and stuff. He says, when I started, I told him, once we make enough money, we'll get a race car. He's foreman, this guy's that. I had the highest paid crew there was. But, they were the best. They were 30 to 40 years old. I said, who wants to be building the motor? And one of them guys held up his hand. I said, okay, I'll put one together for you. Mm-hmm. Now put 4 more together and we get back. And I said, I'm going to point at one, and then we're going to take it apart, piece by piece. Everything was perfect. I said, you're the guy.
That's cool.
But, and Mike was one of the better levers. He was a good racer. When I got his license, and I says, when you can see the yellow light glow and come on, you're a lever. What? I says, when you turn the light on, you'll see it in slow motion. No. About 3 races later, he comes up. I saw it. I said, what did you see? The light went blink. I said, you'll be a lever.
Incandescent lights did that. Lever.
The reason racing, drag racing, it's all concentration. I asked my doctor, I says, how do I slow time down? He says, you can't slow time down. I says, well, I can see this light, and it goes blink, and my foot's halfway down before it goes click. He goes, yeah. I says, what is it? He says, well, most people think your eye's wood camera. He says, actually, you have 10 or 12 cameras in each eye. 3 of them are looking at who you look, and the other 7 are looking at roofs and everything.
Yep.
And that's why the blurry. He says, you guys have learned to take all 10 cameras and look at that deal. He says, baseball players, when they're pitching a 90-mile-an-hour ball coming at you, well, we see which way it's rotating so we know it's going to be. I played baseball and I saw it was a white blur. No way I could see it turning in. But they all learned how to bear to
focus.
Put all 10. And that's like when you go to on your practice tree at home.
Yep.
Boy, I'm leaving good. I'm leaving better than that. That's because you're in a room.
Yep.
No background, no nothing. So automatically, 6, 7 of your cameras go there, and you get better than you actually do when you get out there and we're doing this and telling you to do that. Then your concentration. So it has all in the mind.
Yeah, it's true. And you know, the Funny Cars Summer movie. Talk about how that happened.
Well, that was started. I had my rear engine car. And I built a lightweight body, and I made a run. It was in Orange County, and the roof blew off. And a kid was there with his dad, and he was into the movie business. So they came over and says, would you mind doing a 30-second commercial for us for an oil company? I said, sure, that'd be good. So we did it. He goes, how about if we make it 30 minutes and go on TV as Danger's My Business or some deal like that? Yep, that'd be good. Then the next week, how about if we go for a whole movie? I go, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
But they followed me around. I never made one run that wasn't a real run. They followed me from racetrack to racetrack on it. And they said, well, we're going to be in Orange County and we'll be taping. I said, boy, these guys don't have much money. But we pulled into Orange County. There's a helicopter with a camera in it, camera at the other end, camera halfway. I said, oops, these guys got more money than I thought they had.
Yeah.
But that was all fun. I didn't make a penny off of it, but it was good. And firemen are vicious little people. So when I go there, the firemen say, Dunn, I saw your movie, it wasn't very good. I says, yeah, you're right. I says, call me when your movie comes out and I'll go watch it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that's right.
That'd shut them up right there.
Yeah.
There, you know.
Well, that movie captured moments in time of drag racing that really nothing else did. You know, of course you had, you know, recordings of the actual races, but you know, recorded your life. You know, they were in your house and they, you know, in the truck and at the racetrack, and they got to see it. And you know, there's no other movie in that era that even compares to that.
Yeah, and they were good too. I blew a motor up in Orange County, and the director comes over. Dunn, how's it feel now that you blew up your motor? I just and gave him a few F words and stuff. He goes, oh, this is a G movie. I guess we'll cut that part
Cut that out. Yeah.
But they went right along with the flow, and they were good.
Yeah. Moving forward, you know, you take a look at how you've been able to race your family. Diane's always been involved. John, and then Jonna. How cool is that?
It's good, but because we got family, and then Jamie, the other kid, he drives the truck and does the heads.
Yep.
And couldn't do it without any of them. They all do their own job. Like Diane mixes the fuel for us and does all the bills, and John does all the work that I used to be able to do. And let me tell you one thing. They made me a legend a few years ago. The only thing I can say about a legend, you got to be old to be a legend. And I don't, well, I had a good life. Right now I can hardly walk and stuff, but like anything, you die. I'm 91 years old. So.
Well, you're still doing it, and you inspire so many people.
Well, that's right. When you leave the line, you run a good run, or we went around, I try to jump off the ground and clap. I still get that same feeling. That's why I still do it.
Yeah.
Because it still gives me the feeling it did when I won my first race.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still fun, but not as much fun as it was in the 70s. That was the years to go.
Yeah.
The reason I went from dragsters to funny cars, I had a shop down at Reith's shop, then it was Dudd and Reith. And guys would come in and say, "You throwing your head gaskets away?" "Yeah, they're getting beat up." "Can I have them?" "Yeah." I said, "What do you use them for?" "Oh, I got this Jeep funny car we go to Lions with." "Well, why do you go?" He says, "'Cause they pay me to show up." Mm-hmm. They what? At Lions was the best racetrack there was.
Yep.
There'd be 20, 30 fielders show up, and if you weren't within a tenth of a second of the record, you didn't qualify.
Yeah.
So I said, "You get paid to show up?" I said, "Yes, I built a funny car."
Yeah. Who built your first funny car?
Woody Gilmore.
Woody built the first funny car.
And I told Woody, I says, "I want one that's light, just like my Aldred was, high gear only." While everybody else had ones big wide, I had the first narrow, lightweight funny car. First week out, made a run in Orange County. It was the manufacturer's race, which was the biggest race there was. 4 teams, 8 cars in each team.
Yep.
Chevy, Ford, Chrysler, and
Yep.
Dodge. And if you had a Ford, you had to run a Ford motor. If you had a Chevy, you had to run a Chevy
That's cool.
motor. That was just when they
part of
were
the rule.
starting. Yeah. So I went zip, and all of a sudden I felt this vibration. The U-joint was hitting the seat on my butt, and so I shut it off early. Oh, number 2 qualifier. I said, "Whoa!" So we took it back to Woody's and redid the seat and stuff. Came back, and they says, "You got to make another run, Dunn." "Why?" "That was a new car." And I'm sitting there watching. Here comes Perdone, the Ram Chargers. They're running 200 mile an hour, and I ran about 180.
Yep, because you let off early.
Yeah,
Yep.
I said, "Man, it was a phony time."
Yeah.
"Nope, you got to qualify." Oh, man, okay, put her in line. Whoop, number 1 in the Plymouth class.
How about it?
Yeah, I said, "Whoa, that's pretty bad."
That's awesome.
But I still shut off early. Now, when they went to 1,000 foot, I was the first car to go in 09, 409. And that made Beckman so mad because
Yeah.
the Schumachers, they were running 01.
Who was your driver at that time? Tony Bartone?
No, that was, Bartone.
Tony Bartone.
Yeah, and we won the race. One guy says, "Well, you didn't run very good." I says, "No, but I had lane choice all 4 runs."
You've had a lot of drivers over the years, and you've done a great job with all of them. And some that stick out to me through my childhood were, number 1 would be Kenji in your relationship with Moon Eyes. You've been out here 75 years drag racing, and Moon Eyes been in business for 75 years. And I want to talk about that relationship with Moon Eyes and Kenji.
We were the first team to go to Japan. There was a fuel dragster, then my funny car, a fuel bike, and I think an Alder or Pro Stock. Anyway, the 4 of us went and we got to race on Mount Fuji. And that's when Kenji saw it. And it was funny. The Japanese are kind of hard to work with till you get to know them. So Kenji comes over, and I sold him one of my cars and put it on alcohol so he could go back to fit. He goes, "How much you want for it?" I said, "Oh, I want 10,000 for it." I have a guy once that's come over and looked at him, some older guy, and they came around, kicked the wheels and everything. "Nah, that's the wrong price. We'll give you 8,000. I said, "Well, yeah, it is the wrong price. I'll take 12,000. Oh, I'll pay you 10. I said, no, you pay me 12 or deals off.
You're not getting it.
So they paid me 12,000
Fantastic.
on it. But that's like with CJ, is Japanese, he's the owner. He bought Moon out because he went to school at SC.
Yep.
And fell in love with drag racing. So when he made money, he come back, he wanted a race car, and he was the one that came and sponsored us.
Yep.
But the second year, me and John went over and presented a contract, how much we wanted. He looks at it. Oh, that's nice. He says, we'll have lunch next week again. Oh, okay. Came back in a week. Yeah, that's very nice. Maybe lunch again next week. Wait a minute. If this is too much money or something, tell me.
Yep.
We'll come back with another contract next week. Really? I said, yeah. He said, I could not tell you it was too much money because I would be embarrassing you because you're not worth it. You know?
Yep.
I said,
Very respectful.
yeah, they were bad. That's like Kenji. I tell him what to do. I said, you didn't do that. He was black belt in that Japanese fourth sword thing. And he says, well, I think it's better this way. I said, did you have a coach with your black belt sword? Oh, yeah, I had Master so-and-so. I said, if he told you to hold the sword like this, but you went like this and went up there, what would he say? He would say, get out of my place. Call me Master Dunn, because next time you don't, get out of my car.
That's right.
Oh, I understand now.
Now he understood.
But he was the best lever there was. He had the best concentration. I was one of the better levers. But if the light came on before I said one, that was awful. Because they tried it. As soon as they staged, they gave it light. The reactions was the same.
Yeah.
But if the blower blew off, the blower could blow off, he wouldn't even know it. He'd still be pedaled in.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But you guys had a lot of success together. Won the Big Bud Shootout. I think we won Indy, right?
We didn't win it. It was runner-up at Indy.
Runner-up in Indy.
We won
the Big Bud Shootout.
but we
I remember that.
We were the first non-North American person to win a national meet, and I think that was Reading or one of those places.
Yeah.
But he was the most consistent driver there was. He was good.
Yeah.
And CJ still sponsoring us 35 years.
Yeah.
That's about as long as you can get.
Yeah, we love their support. Yeah. They're a great company, great brand, great people.
I had Valvoline for quite a few years. And they got said, we can't sponsor you. They went to Shirley or Carlitz. I said, well, okay, how come? Well, it takes 5 years for your name to be associated with Valvoline. Well, you have your 5 years, your name's there, but your name will take 5 more years before they forget about it. We may be back in 5 years. I said, okay, don't burn bridges, boys.
That's right.
Say thank you, so I always tell a sponsor when they quit, thanks, I appreciate it, which I do, because I can't run without them.
That's right.
You know.
Yep. And you've had so many other legends that drove for you. I mean, you've had Al Hoffman, right? You've had Tony Bartone, right? All these interesting drivers. Pick one and tell an interesting or funny story about one of them.
My favorite driver, that's me.
Yeah, that's you. That's right.
Yeah, so I grew up racing. That's my whole passion.
Yep.
But the one that had the most fun was Frankie Pettigrew.
Frank Pedregon.
Yeah, he was a brother of Tony and
Yep.
Cruz. I always tell people I had the pick of the litter there.
Yep.
He
did well
good.
for you.
He was good. He was funny, but like everybody, they just win a few races. And to get big-headed. Well, he got it. We won Indy with the penthouse car. Woo!
Yeah. Yep.
And next year, because I got him his license and everything, so I doubled his price I was paying him. He goes, "Oh, I'm not sure I can do that, Dad. I can't do that." And I says, "Well, why not?" "Well, I can't say." So I'm saying, who can afford him? And I was still driving the truck, so I'm sitting there, and Worsham's dad was sitting there driving the truck. He said, "You want a beer done?" I said, "Sure." We sat down, we're drinking, and I says, "You like Frankie?" "What?" Yeah, I said, "Didn't you hire him?" "Well, yeah, how'd you know?" "I didn't, but I do now."
Yeah. You figured it out, didn't you? You put 2 + 2 together.
Yeah, they wanted a minority for the parts company because that's who fixes all their own cars and stuff. No hard feelings because business is business.
Yeah, that's right. I want you to talk about the performance of the cars, right? The amount of power we're making, how we're applying the power, the bodies, and how much has changed in the last 25 years.
25 years ago, we were making about 1,500 horsepower, but our fuel pumps were 17 gallons a minute.
Yeah.
And now our fuel pumps are 115 gallons a minute.
Yep.
We run quicker. Well, let's go all the way back to the beginning. We had our magnetos had points and they'd burn up and then wouldn't start because we was push starting them and stuff. So we all had spare mags. So we said, well, let's put the spare mag on there, and that way when that one burns up, turn the switch on when they're pushing, it'll start. But then we found out, oh, if we give it more fuel, it goes quicker, you know. So that's where the horsepower started coming. Once we found the deal, then tires got better. 90% of the run is the clutch. Right now, we could put an electric motor if they had enough power, it'd be perfect. Right?
That's right.
Every run.
That's right.
But we can't get a drop cord that long.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. But I call us the dinosaurs, and we've priced ourselves out of living.
Yeah, the performance level has gotten so high, and the parts consumption. I mean,
yeah, we call a good run where we only hurt 2 pistons and 1 rod. But it cost us $4,000 a run to go, and we make 100 runs plus a year, so that's $400,000 just
in runs.
To that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you blow a motor up, it's about $30,000 now. Every time NHRA makes a rule to slow us down, it costs us money because now we have to specialize in that to get around the rule. Like I told them, I said, when I started in the 50s, Miller told me, he says, how quick you want to go, how much money you want to spend.
Yeah, that's right.
It's still that way. And my favorite story is, they said, how can you afford that, Dunn? He says, it doesn't cost any more than it did 50 years ago. He said, what do you mean? I said, took every penny I had 50 years ago, it still does. But I just lucky enough to have more pennies.
That's right. You've been doing it for 75 years, and you're 91 years old, and there's not going to be any quitting anytime soon.
That's right.
So last year you received the Lifetime Achievement Award. You know, what did that mean to you and your family?
To me, that was an honor of the deal because I didn't expect it. I do it because I enjoy it. I don't do it for you spectators. I do it for me, and I'm just lucky that you enjoy and back me up. Like I got inducted to the Hall of Fame for Lions drag strip there. And there was me, Keith Black, and Linda Vaughn. And I said, this is a pretty good group to go through. You know?
Yeah, what a great group. You know, you had a shop that was connected to Keith's shop. You guys were basically wall to wall, right?
Yeah, I mean, his shop was there. Then we had a row of 7 garages across the back. And that was the place to go. I went there in 1971, I believe. And I stayed there for 20 some odd years. But when I moved in, there was Roland Leon on one gym, LaHaye, beard. The teams were there. There was a year waiting list just to get into
What a
it.
group of people, huh?
Oh yeah, that was more fun than you could think of. But at that time, LaHaye had Timmy Prock.
Yeah.
He was a teenager, and him and LaHaye's daughter. That was the crew
Kim?
on it.
Yep.
Kimmy.
Yep.
But she was good. Kim was good. That she was one of the better clutch people there was. It's hard to believe.
Oh, I'm sure. You know, and in that group, you know, since everyone was together, I would assume during that time period, there's a lot of information being shared, and a lot of growth during those years for all those people.
Well, we don't share a lot of our secrets, you know.
Yeah.
Like I made the first overdrive with the funny car. I went from dragster to funny car and made one run. I said, whoa, this thing needs more fuel. And all we had was a 17-gallon pump, so I made an overdrive for the pump. It was the first one. And the guy that made it for me, Tim Krauser, he says, yeah, I make those, I like to sell them. So I was sitting there, and I was at Fremont up there, and Gene Snow was sitting on the back. That's when they had 426s. I still had a 392 in my funny car.
Yep.
And Snow says, Dunn, I don't want to embarrass you, but everything I got's better than your stuff. But what's that little black box? Oh, that's an overdrive. I'll have a guy make it. No, I didn't want to make it. Oh, man, I said, that could have been 6 weeks ahead of them before they figured it out.
Before they figured out it was, you had your fuel pump overdriven.
Yeah, most things are made by accidents at drag races.
Yep.
We was at Orange County, and there's been Kewitt coming, whoop, low ET and fast time. Wow. What did you change? Well, in those days, we had a warm-up plug that was very hot. Then we'd put in 405 side plugs in it. We forgot to change the plugs. The next race, all of us
Hot plugs.
had hot plugs in them to go. Track stop fuel. Connie's making a run here. Poof, low ET. One of the oil lines broke that controlled the clutch movement. Poof. That's when
Locked
we learned.
up.
That's when we learned to throw clutch at it fast.
Yep.
Everything is learned by mistakes.
Yeah.
A good crew chief is a guy who's made the most mistakes and learned most of them.
Yep. That's right. You make the mistakes, you analyze your mistakes, and you adjust, and that's how you get better.
That's right. You never stop thinking about how to run quicker.
Yeah.
You know? That's like guys will say, "Oh, you really made a good run, but you didn't look happy." No, because it should have went quicker.
That's
So
right.
You never say, "Oh, that's great, I can quit now." No.
Yeah. There's always a way.
Thousandths of a second. How can they take this 2,500-pound monster and we complain if it's 100th of a second slow?
Yeah.
Money talks, but we got plenty of money to run. Most of us could run. I always feel if I got a budget, I should be able to run this quick. Well, I'm not. So it's not the budget's fault, it's my fault.
Sure.
I should be running a 10th quicker than I am right now. And save it. Then I can lay on and break some parts, go to the next step. You never stop. But
that's right.
Right now, I know I should be running consistent 92s, and I'm having a hard time running O's.
I believe we'll get there.
Yeah, because when you stop to think, when you're watching the Olympics and then do the 100-yard dash, that number you can hardly read fast enough, that's a 10th of a second. And we're talking about 10 times we did that. Then we go to the thousands. It's unreal how many times they go, you know. And what a lot of spectators don't know, on a full run is less than 600 revolutions from start to finish, and we destroy everything.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I don't know how we can burn it up so fast. You know? I mean, we're all always on the verge of breaking. Like they were going to make us all run 400 cubic inches. They said, "Oh, that won't cost you much done to change. You just put a stock stroker in it." I said, I got 4 motors sitting under there. That means I got to buy 4 of that. And I said, if you make it less horsepower, I said, I'll tell you right now, the guy sitting behind me, which was Force and Proc, I said, they'll do it next week. It'll take me 2 weeks, but I'll get a crank with less counterweights, get lighter rods again, put everything back down to where it's ready to break. Well, why did you do that? Because we got to accelerate it quicker, and weight makes the difference. The lighter the deal is, it goes. Now, most people, you got your G meter going, you got your RPM up here. The G meter's like this. You'd think when the clutch goes kapunk, the G meter go up. No, it goes down. The reason why, the motor's turning faster and the motor is trying to catch up. Once it catches, now it's got all the weight of the motor and the tires to do it. It can't do it. Because I thought, boy, what a punks is going to,
takes authority. It grabs authority. It takes control of the motor.
And that's where the computer tells you. That's where they help you. A lot of guys live by the computers.
Yeah.
Which you can, but it's more expensive.
Is there anybody over the years that you just absolutely couldn't find a way to get along with?
Yeah, I can get along with everybody because they know if they screw with me, I'll screw them right back, you know. One of the top funny car guys, Beckman, he comes over and he held us up at the starting line. Oh man, I'm sorry, dude. He says, I couldn't get it to go in the rich mode. It was stuck. I'm in there. And I did. I says, no, you didn't. He says, what do you mean? I says, when we stage, you stage, the next guy stage, I count. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I said, I was just getting ready to say 4 when you staged. So you're in the realm.
Yeah, that's right.
Really? I said, yep. I said, if you would 5, I'd be on your butt.
That's right.
You know?
Yep.
But yeah, we had a rare reputation of hitting a few people and stuff. And McCullough, we were on a stage one day, and they said, you and McCullough never got in a fight or anything. How come? Never did anything I didn't like. McCullough said, yeah. And I looked at the audience. I says, only one thing I can say is, none of you can probably say, but me and Ed have never said I should have hit that SB before it did, because we hit them.
That's funny.
Drag races were started by little young hoodlums, you know. I mean, I was one step above a Hell's Angel kid. I had a motorcycle and stuff. The only thing that saved me was my daddy. And I'll never forget that too, because football games, high school. No, I had to do the milk house.
You had to work.
I'd be sitting in the silos watching them over there going. But I got paid good money for it. So come Monday, we'd go into the drive-in. Dunn, can you loan me $1? No. You know, I told my dad when I got it, I'll never race, I'll be good. So first stop sign in Bellflower Boulevard, some guy beside me, I said, boy, this is fun. But all of a sudden he passed me. Oh, you're supposed to shift.
That's funny. Wally Parks, what was your relationship like with Wally?
Wally, let's put it this way. NHRA was started with the guys that loved drag racing, but they didn't have the money or weren't smart enough to compete. So they said, well, let's do this. So they built that. And they were for the racers. Now they're for the dollar.
Sure.
They're all, it's a business. Wally Parks, Bernie Partridge, and all those guys were racers, and they were all social. The last racer we've had was Steve Gibbs. He was the last before the deal. Right now, they make rules like you don't even understand. The guy, oh, we're trying to make them safe. Like I told him, we don't want to be safe.
Yeah, that's right.
He says, what do you mean? I says, we'd like to walk on the edge. How close and don't fall off. That makes a winner. I says, we just flew here in this 500-mile-an-hour jet. I didn't get any thrill out of that.
And it's way faster than a race car.
A 300-mile-an-hour funny car, that curls your nose a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Did you help Wally at all, or did he ever ask you for any advice? Did he ever say, "Hey Jim, what do you think"?
No, but I told him a few times what I thought.
I knew that was going to come out.
Oh, they make dumb rules. I hated dumb rules that go every year. Winter Nationals, we say, well, what's the $1,000 rule this year you're putting on this year?
Sure.
And in the old days, everything was racing. We didn't get paid per se, but we got product.
Sure.
If you made a cam, you ran good, the guy gave you a cam to run.
Yep.
I probably got 90% of my stuff was free. Nobody paid me, but every part was free.
Yeah, you ran good, and people wanted to support you.
Run as hard as we could run it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So now, 1968, I could go from LA to Indy, qualify, have a motel with 6 of us lived in one room.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
Worked on the car in the parking lot, probably.
work on the parking lot, but the qualifying money would pay all the expenses. Now qualifying just barely pays the nitro bill. When Kenji was driving in the 90s, was that 30 years ago?
Yeah. 91, 92, 93.
We won the Bud Shootout. That was a $100,000 check.
Yeah.
That's still a big check today.
Yeah.
That's 30 years later. Where's the
Pays the same money.
$500 to $1 million check to win some? Look, you know.
Man, 100,000 when Kenji won, boy, that bought a lot of race car parts.
Oh,
that was back when a
yeah.
crankshaft was $1,500 and a block was $3,500 and a blower was $3,500.
Oh, when I moved into Keith Black's in 70s, like I said, you could buy a complete 392 injector ready to start without a clutch, $3,000. Yeah, so that's what's bad. People don't know. Crankshaft costs you $8,000. You're lucky to get 10 runs.
Yeah.
5 to 10 runs is all you get out of it.
That's right.
Pistons, you get 5 runs on a piston and you're looking good.
Yep.
And the prices went up, but the round money, they gave us a little bit. We first started at Lions. It was $1,000 winner take all top fuel. Then he's going to say, well, we're going to raise it from 1,000 to 2,000. No. So my first round money at Lions was $25.
$25.
But I could go to Mickey Thompson, lay the 25 on the table, we get enough fuel to run the whole next race.
Isn't that cool?
We're
going to move into our Funny Car Fast 5. Funny Car Fast 5 is presented by Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. And these answers are just going to be short, sweet, to the point answers. And the first one is, what's your favorite funny car of all time?
My Fireman's Quickie. Funny story on that one was Cerny was foreman at Blacks. He says, why don't we make T-shirts? I says, I don't have enough money. He says, well, I'll pay for the T-shirts and I'll take half the profit. I said, that sounds fair to me. So we got this funny car that says, everybody loves a Quickie on the T-shirt. We thought, I said, I don't know. And my first match race was in Salt Lake City, Mormon City, right?
Oh, yeah.
I go, oh, this is maybe a bad place to bring this shirt. And I'll never forget, a guy and his girlfriend came up and, oh, I want this shirt. The guy says, okay, here. And I said, she picked it up. Oh, there's a picture of the funny car on the front. I said, look at her, and he says, we're in.
You're in.
We ran on match race money and T-shirt sales. That's how we supported our cars.
It's killer. And what is your favorite track to run funny cars on?
Right now, the most, I still like Indy just from the name of it. It's the
I'm with
old
you.
time.
Yeah. I had the same answer you have. I don't like going to Indy.
Yeah, that's the race.
Yep.
Used to match racing and go, well, see, how good do you run? I said, I qualified at Indy. Okay, you're in.
That's it.
That was good enough. If you could qualify at Indy, you could go to any match race you wanted.
That was the standard. Yep. Next question. Your favorite funny car driver besides yourself?
Perdome.
Don Perdome. I think that's fair.
Yeah, he was the best. One of the best.
Yep.
And whenever I beat him, that was my happiest moment, drag racing.
Didn't matter if it was first round or the final round. If you beat Perdome, you won.
That's it.
And the best funny car race that you can remember of all time?
Which is my favorite race?
Your favorite race, that one single race. Maybe Kenji in the Big Bud Shootout?
My favorite race was Salt Lake City. I was driving a dragster. I put a 440 in a tow truck, and it was vapor lock, and we just barely got there. We're holding ice on the deal and stuff. And we came in, and Baney was there with his Chrysler, and Perdome was driving. So we got there, and I says, oh, we'll be ready in 20 minutes. And Baney says, no, you got 10 minutes, that's the rules. So I went up there with 18 pounds air in one tire, 5 in another, one parachute tucked underneath my seat, and one packed on it.
You made it, though.
And started to make the time out. We didn't qualify, and to this day, I think the promoter paid the guy to break out because you could move up, so we got into it. But sitting on the tailgate with Perdome talking, and this reporter came over and says, Perdome, you should have an easy race, the final on that. And that was me and Perdome, you know.
You too, yeah.
And Perdome said, oh, let me introduce you to Jim Dunn, you know. So I gave my reporter a few words, and I beat Perdome.
Fantastic.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that was the happiest moment.
That was a great day.
Yeah,
and that was Top Fuel?
That was Top Fuel.
Top Fuel.
That was my favorite race.
That's cool. And describe what it's like to drive a funny car in 15 seconds. You've driven a lot of them. What's it like?
15 seconds, it's the E-game. I mean, it sets you back in the seat. You don't know what to do. Every run's different. They're animals. Like I said, I classify the funny car is the bull bronco in the rodeo. Top Fuel, the horse riders.
That's right.
I mean, funny cars are violent. You never know what they're going to do.
Yep.
And you as a driver, when I hop you up 1/10 of a second, it's a whole different game again.
Yes, sir, it is.
They are a monster. You better be ahead of them. Everybody said they built 8 rear-engine funny cars. 7 of them crashed, went over the road. How come you did that? Because I'm chicken shit. I said, when I think it's moving, I'm already turned.
Yeah, you're ahead of that race car.
Yeah, because I know this thing's trying to kill me. So
the whole time.
So that it's the biggest glow there is.
Yep.
I mean, you get down the end.
Yep. And that's your Funny Car Fast 5 presented by Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's an honor to be able to interview legends like Big Jim Dunn and get the information out there to all of you. So tune in. Don't forget NHRA Fast Channel, YouTube, of course, and all the other digital channels on your home TV. We'll see you next time.